We now move on and over to the United States, where President Donald Trump has asked the US Supreme Court to overturn a lower court's decision that found many of his sweeping tariffs illegal. In a petition filed in the Supreme Court, the Trump administration asked the justices to quickly intervene to rule in the matter. Trump reiterated his stance that rescinding the tariffs would be very costly. President Trump also talked about the losses if the administration loses the case in the Supreme Court. Let's take a listen in to what he had to say.
We're in a much better position. We have trillions of dollars coming into our country. If we didn't have tariffs, we would be a very poor nation, and we would be taken advantage of by every other nation in the world, friend and foe. We're not going to let that happen. And we have a very, very big case in the Supreme Court. I can only say this. Our country has a chance to be unbelievably rich again, but it can also be unbelievably poor again. If we don't win that case, our country is going to suffer so greatly.
What's the backup plan, sir?
But I think we're going to have a big victory.
Although trade experts note that the duties are paid by importers in the United States and not companies in the countries of origin, economists have warned that the tariffs are likely to fuel inflation in the United States. We're now joined by Dr. Jayjit Bhattacharya. He's an economist and a finance expert, and he joins us live from the Indian capital of New Delhi. Jayjit, thank you very much. Pleasure to talk to you as always. Donald Trump wants the Supreme Court to quickly decide on this decision in regards to his tariffs. He wants it sped up through the highest court in the land. How serious is this case for the United States and also for global trade?
Tariff has been the centerpiece of Trump's push towards restructuring what he believes is an unfavorable trade regime for the US. And clearly he has taken a very quick set of very, very significant steps using tariff, which has led to a widespread disruption in global trade. We have had complete linkages being stopped, job losses happening, significant business losses happening, and there's been pain with the US consumers. The long-term belief of the US administration is that that will lead to somehow manufacturing coming back to the US, although we haven't had any data really backing that up as of now. Of course, it's early days to say that. Now, in that context, if the Supreme Court actually overturns the judgment of the previous court and of the lower courts that the tariffs imposed by the president of US is beyond his powers because there is no financial emergency, which is the context in which this was invoked, then the tariffs go away. Then the US starts following what is right under the WTO regime, because all these tariffs that has been imposed are against the WTO regime. And US is a signatory. In fact, it crafted the WTO regime. And hence, if that goes away, then the cornerstone of Trump's policymaking goes away. Of course, it also brings relief to the rest of the world and to the US consumers and to the US businesses, which have been struggling to find their supply chain at a relevant cost. So there are going to be very significant repercussions if the Supreme Court accepts or overturns both ways the tariffs that the US president has put in. Also, do keep in mind that most of the judges have been appointed by the Trump administration in the Supreme Court. So there are chances possibly that the Supreme Court may overturn what the previous court had passed, which was till date that the Trump administration had overstepped its power to impose the tariffs.
Jayjit, obviously this has been Donald Trump's defining trade policy. He uses much weight when it comes to describing these tariffs, saying the United States will suffer greatly if these tariffs do disappear. He said what we've just heard, that the United States will become very poor if these tariffs do disappear. Do you agree with this, or do you think this is exaggerated?
Well, we have not heard the president of the US explaining why he said what he said, that the Americans will become poor if the tariffs are taken away. In the short run, the tariffs were actually making the Americans poor because the tariffs were being paid by the Americans only. And so, therefore, they have been becoming poorer than what they were earlier. In the long run, if the thesis is that it will lead to more jobs in the US and therefore somehow the Americans will become richer, that is again not backed by economic analysis, because those jobs can come in only if the Americans accept a salary level which is anywhere between 1/5 to 1/10 of their current salary levels, which will clearly not be acceptable. So if they accept those salary levels, then they will be poorer any which ways. So we are not really sure what is it that the president of US meant when he said the Americans will turn poorer if the tariffs go away. If the tariffs go away, goods will be cheaper, and hence, by logic, they should be better off than actually becoming poorer.
Jayjit, do stay with us as we discuss further tariff updates.